We got to stop pitting American versus American, white versus black, gay versus straight, red versus blue, rich versus poor. We got real issues.
The crypto nemesis, somebody that has never really passed many laws, somebody that's supposedly a progressive, and I'm going to show my full political stripes here, the great regressive. And so for the viewers and listeners, what is a regressive? Regressive tax is where when you're hurting the poor. And so this woman by the name of Elizabeth Warren, a former Harvard Law School professor, now been in the Senate for a decade, running for re-election. To me, she's a regressive. She stands for everything that is against the poor. She's for the unbanked, supposedly, but then she doesn't like crypto. She now wants to legalize marijuana so she can drunk up our kids, I guess. Maybe she thinks that's going to get her reelected. But she's a radical at a time when America doesn't need radicals. So tell me why you want to leave this great business career that you had, this great legal career, and go run in the United States Senate against her. By the way, I'm thrilled and I'm going to be here to support you, but I just want to know why.
Yo, absolutely. Well, first, everything you said is accurate. You know, income inequality is a political slogan to Senator Warren. To me, it's my life. And I don't believe in pitting American versus American and the identity politics and the class warfare. And before I answer your question why I'm specifically running, I think that she embodifies everything wrong with Washington, D.C. She went 11 years ago. She said she was outraged that the bankers didn't go to prison because of the 2008 financial crisis. She promised to go to Washington, D.C., Anthony, to hold the bankers accountable. Who do you think wrote her last bill? The Bankers Institute.
Of course.
We know that.
The association, I mean, it was ridiculous. She just cut and pasted. I mean, you know.
Right. And so it's a classic.
She's bought and paid for. It's just so obvious.
So now that they've written her last bill, she went to fight them, couldn't beat them, joined them, and now she's the biggest lobbyist for those bankers that she went to hold. But the reason I'm running is what you said earlier. This country's in crisis, man, and Massachusetts is ground zero in that crisis. And when I say crisis, it's everywhere around us. Illegal immigration, debt crisis. Half of Americans don't have $500 set aside in case of an emergency. On top of that, you got the inflation and housing costs that are so high, it's pricing regular people out of the economy. We got 1 million people dead on opioid addiction. You look overseas, Anthony, the world's in chaos with Iran and the Houthis in the Red Sea, Ukraine, Russia, Israel, Gaza. But when you look at the biggest crisis we face is the crisis of leadership in Washington, D.C., because those folks, all they want to do is fight for power or to stay in power, point the finger at each other, get nothing done. I'm running because I really do understand the struggle of regular folks, people who feel like they can't get ahead no matter what they do and doing everything right. And I understand those struggles because I've lived them. Whether it's poverty, whether it's not being able to make your bills on time and that feeling that you're drowning no matter what you're doing. A small businessman, I put $100,000 on credit card debt to start my business. You know what that's like, and you take those chances. And so what I said to you earlier is that I embody the American dream, and I fear that we're losing it and that it's dying before my eyes. Anthony, you know this. You're someone who gives to other people. I don't want to be one of the last poor people to achieve the American dream in this country. And when you look at DC, you don't see someone with that experience who's overcome poverty, who understands those daily struggles. And I think it's time we hire someone like that. And when you look at Senator Warren, anyone else would be fired in Massachusetts with her job performance. She's presented as a primary sponsor over 350 bills. One in 11 years has been passed and had to do with flying of flags on federal buildings. So anyone else gets fired. And I'm just asking the voters to hold her accountable, just like you or I would be held accountable at work.
Okay, but it's a liberal. I'm going to push back at you hard. Okay,
sure.
I want you to respond. It's a super liberal state. She is speaking the liberal mantra. She's not delivering, but she's speaking the liberal mantra. You're not speaking the liberal mantra. Aren't you in the tank for crypto? Isn't crypto a terrible thing? Isn't crypto for drug addicts and terrorists? And crypto is a really bad thing for small investors. They could get ripped off in crypto, and you represent that.
No. Well, in fact, we need to ask her. You and I know that all of that's not true. Cash is still the number one reason. When you look at crypto, it's 0.03% of illicit activity.
I know it's not true. You know it's not true. But you're going to have to face a lot of people that think it is.
But what I want them to know is, with the things I talked about, illegal immigration, the debt crisis, inflation, housing prices, opioid addiction, foreign wars, why, with all those issues, is Elizabeth Warren running her entire reelection on an anti-crypto platform? I know Massachusetts voters. I've been talking to them. Crypto's not a top 5 or top 10 issue for them right now. So why is their senator focusing on something? People ask me, am I pro crypto? I say, I'm just pro freedom. I'm pro freedom and, Bitcoin or owning assets and the self custody of those assets. That's America. If a person has a right to invest in what they want to invest in, and her idea of banning a technology is nonsense. And this is why I say it to voters. In Massachusetts, they don't lose by voting for me, Anthony. They don't lose the things that they like about her. I'm pro-choice like she is. So that's not an issue for me. Income inequality, let's talk about it. She's great at fighting against people and things. I want to fight for people and issues. For example, she's great at fighting against the rich and the wealthy. I want to fight for the poor and the middle class. It's a fundamental different approach. And I understand poverty. And let me tell you, Anthony, when I was poor, dirt poor, I didn't hate a rich fella. I wanted to stop you and hey, you got 10 minutes to talk to me? I want to learn what you know that I don't know. How do I achieve the things that I want to achieve in life? We got to stop pitting American versus American, white versus black, gay versus straight, red versus blue, rich versus poor. We got real issues. And what I'm saying to the voter is, I'm not a partisan person. I will be loyal to Massachusetts and America. That's not to a party or a person. It'll never happen with me. And with her, she's loyal to Elizabeth Warren and the Democratic Party and the agenda that they pursue. And that's a fundamental difference. And I think if I can get that message out and people see that I'm a viable alternative, and they don't lose the things that they like about her, then I think I'm going to be successful.